Examples of using Google Cloud Platform. In this nugget, we're going to take a look at how companies big and small have built their solutions on Google's cloud. And a lot of these are hybrid architectures. So they've used many products and services together to come up with their solution. Let's get started. Let's start with Khan Academy. And this is a very simple example, but I think it highlights something very important with the cloud today, especially with platform as a service. And that is small businesses, startups, nonprofits like Khan Academy. These folks don't have a lot of money, right? And startup costs can be immense when you're talking about traditional application development, right? You need an infrastructure to support the application, you need development teams and administrative teams. You need a lot of money. And that can grow exponentially very quickly, especially if your business grows faster than you anticipate or you go viral. With the internet these days, anything can go viral at any moment. And if your application goes viral, it's a dream 1 minute and a nightmare the next because there's no way a traditional infrastructure can scale overnight. And that's what makes Platform as a Service, App Engine here in Google Cloud Platform, so attractive. We don't need an infrastructure. Our infrastructure is Google's infrastructure, so you know that it's going to scale just fine. In fact, scaling is built right into App Engine. It'll scale up, scale down. We only pay for what we use, and we don't need any operations folks. In fact, Khan Academy has no dedicated system administrator, and it's very rapid development. In fact, they do up to 10 deployments per day, at least one a day, up to 10 a day. So it's an extremely attractive option for many use cases. Next up, we have the Coca-Cola Happiness Flag. This was a really cool project that Coca-Cola did for the 2014 FIFA World Cup, in which they created the world's largest mosaic flag. They crowdsourced images from people from over 200 countries. In fact, it ended up being 3.5 million images from over 207 countries. The real flag, the actual flag, is 3,015 square meters. It took 29 days to print on 192 nylon fabric panels. That's pretty cool. And the digital version you can actually see today at happinessflag.com. Here it is. And this is something. This is mind-boggling because look at this. It looks cool from up here, but once you start zooming in, you realize that these are constructed from images from that anybody could have submitted at the time through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and email. So you can zoom in and you can actually see all the details here. And this is an App Engine app because you can actually do some searching up here to find your photo. If you submitted it through email, you can type your email in there. If you submitted it through the social network, you could do it based on your Facebook account or Twitter handle or Instagram account. So really cool that they did this. And they did this all using App Engine, cloud storage, data store, and compute engine. So App Engine was really the main component here, the controller. Everything went through App Engine. All of those images that came in through social media and through email would hit App Engine. App Engine would store them in Google Cloud Storage, and it would store information about them in the data store. So where they came from, who they came from, where they live in cloud storage, all that stuff. And that's what allowed them to create a nice little search engine on top of all this. Plus, they would use compute engine to do the back-end heavy lifting for the image transformations and to create the flag. Plus, they had some nice performance features here. Memcache on top of the data store. We'll talk about that when we get into the data store. And, of course, edge caching support in Google's network with those images getting served from Google Cloud Storage. So a great example there of a hybrid solution using many of GCP services. Another interesting example here is from Backflip Studios and really just mobile gaming in general. The mobile game market has really taken off over the past few years, and scaling is paramount to this kind of application because these things can take off overnight. You better hope you have a scalable infrastructure to handle that influx of traffic. And that's what happened here with Backflip Studios. They created a little game many years ago called Dragonvale. And this game got very popular very quickly. In fact, even to this day, it's very popular. They have something like on average of 2,500 installs a day. But what they can predict is when they release a content update, players come flying back and they usually have double to triple the traffic in just a few minutes after the update is released. Where things that they can't predict, like when a review site gets a hold of the game or the Google Play or the App Store makes it a featured app, that's when they have no idea. Traffic could just all of a sudden spike like crazy. But thankfully, they chose App Engine as their back end. And App Engine has scaled to meet every single demand that they've ever had. The best part about this, in their own words, is they only ever paid for exactly what they needed resource-wise. If they would have built this app on a traditional infrastructure, they would have needed to plan that infrastructure for those spikes, meaning they would have to have a pretty beefy infrastructure in place to handle those spikes, when really 90% of the time their application only needed this much work, meaning all of this would be wasted resources just sitting there idle. So auto-scaling is definitely key to this kind of an application, and they did so using App Engine along with the data store to store things like the game state and player information. And all of that data in the data store is stored in a format that's optimized for the game engine. So they use MapReduce to transform that data, stage it in cloud storage, and ingest it into BigQuery where their marketing and analytics teams can analyze it in real time. And those insights give them a valuable way to keep their game dynamically updated and fresh so they can keep their user base around, right? They can find out where players are getting stuck, where players tail off, where players spend the most money, the least money, and so they can optimize all of those areas to keep people coming back for more. In this CBT Nugget, we looked at a couple of examples of how businesses are using Google Cloud Platform to build a wide range of applications that span many products and services. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.